If I'm operating at 100%, our team's operating at 100%, we're trying to serve our clients at 100%, it's a recipe for success. Like, how can you go wrong? Craig and I have had this conversation. I mean, even with my family and work, our team, our clients has been really this theme of just serving with no expectation, coming at it heart of just like, hey, how can we really make things better for our team, for our clients? If I'm operating at 100%, our team's operating at 100%, we're trying to serve our clients at 100%, it's a recipe for success. Like, how can you go wrong?
You know, this isn't all just about the employees. We matter too. We're human beings. We have families. We have lives outside of our workplace. We have interests. People get tied up in a pretzel about it because it's too simple. Why do we have to change our behavior, human being to human being, when we cross threshold at work?
Right.
I don't, treat people terribly at the grocery store. I'm not rude to people at church. I'm not mean to people when I'm walking down the street. I generally smile and acknowledge a human being when I go out to a restaurant. So why do the rules of engagement change just because we're in the workplace?
Right.
We need to get back to those basics. And I think if employees realize that our boss matters too, he or she is a human being and they might have a bad day. It's okay. But we've got to talk about it. It's simple communication. You might be having a bad day. It's okay. You're a human.
Yeah.
We're not robots. Chat GPT is not going to replace us all.
Right.
I call bullshit on that.
But it's definitely an awesome tool.
But it's a tool. That's the right way to think about it. Just like technology, like we're using right here. I love, this tool StreamYard. I use it with a lot of other people. We use Zoom. But AI is just a tool to help us get better. I worry sometimes that people think it's the solution. There's no one solution, to anything.
One of my business mentor of mine always used to do this. He'd ask people, who's your number one customer? And it's a trick question because your number one customer is your team.
Absolutely.
Right? That's who you have to serve. And then they're going to serve everybody else if you can let go and not try to control everything.
With you, you've seen so many different businesses and this is your expertise. So I'd love to know, what are the big mistakes that you've seen business owners have and how can we avoid them and how can we thrive as a business owner?
So some of the things I see, some kind of rookie mistakes, if you will, is you're hiring people versus selecting people. And there's a big difference. Some agencies might be small, intimate, 4 or 5 people. Some agencies might have thousands of people. Size doesn't matter in this equation, but selection does matter greatly. You must make sure that the person you're selecting for your team is aligned with your values, attitudes, and beliefs. If they're not, they're going to fail and you're going to be mad. So why do it in the first place? But what's happening out there is there's a supply and demand issue. So we wait to bring somebody on board until we're in a crisis. And that crisis creates panic. And that panic's like, well, you're one of 3 that applied. You're good enough. Selecting the cream of the crop.
I'm stealing that.
Why would you do that? Why would you expose your customers to that? On my website, talenttrust.com, we have some tools for people. We have selection questions. We have an interview guide if people are interested, and we can certainly follow up and send some tools to you too for your listeners to really understand what motivates the human being. And what do they want to do? A lot of the work that you do is you do a lot of sales, right? And then you have a team that serves those customers. And that is where the sticky factor happens, right? The sales process is one thing, but you want to retain those customers you brought on board. So the quality and caliber of the person interacting with your customers, that relationship has to be really quality. If I only get to touch you once a year, you have to really understand my business, the humans that I am providing insurance for, my business model, my cost. You've got to be intellectual. Sometimes I see people selecting people in customer service that are more administrative than don't understand business issues. It's kind of the reverse. If I'm going to stay with you for years, don't you want your customers to stay for 15, 20 years?
Sure,
lots of time. So make sure when you're selecting those people who are retaining your client, that they can have those business conversations with your clients.
We like to look for people for the service team that are like pseudo salespeople, right?
Yes.
They're salespeople, but they don't want to make calls, right? Like they're okay talking to them and loving them up and then maybe offering something, but they definitely aren't. They're like, I'm not taking leads. Those people are perfect. If there's a relationship, they're comfortable.
Exactly. They're like sales engineers. Have you met a sales engineer?
Mm-hmm.
He or she's not the guy or gal who's like the bells and whistles or behind the curtain, but they know how the technology works. They really have this credibility and intellect about the business impact of what I'm going to buy. So
solve problems, right?
They solve problems.
Yeah.
You're right. If you get to touch me once a year, you better impress me with solving my problems.